Hmm. Let's talk about it. So I saw Iron Lung yesterday, and Iron Lung was a movie that I was kind of hyping up a lot on my YouTube channel, and it was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. So, what did I think about it? That's what we're here to talk about. Before we get started and I start talking, please make sure that if you like this type of content, you hit that like button, subscribe button, comment down below. It really helps me out. Also, we can continue this discussion on a more personal level if you by joining my Discord server down in the description below. Anyways, let's start talking about Iron Lung. And of course, this review will be spoiler free. Just wanted to put that out there. So the first thing I do want to mention is I have a pretty big bias with this movie because I am a really big Markiplier fan. I have been watching him forever. It feels like I still listen to his podcasts and watch his content now to this day. So I was really excited for this movie, basically on the foundation of this was Markiplier's passion project, and I wanted to support him. Let that be known, there is going to be a bias to this review, but I still want to try to be as objective as possible. So with that said, the first thing I want to talk about is that I am proud of Markiplier, of Mark Fischbach. He made a movie. That is a really big achievement. I've never made a movie. So, that's cool. Inherently, he made a movie that he was proud of, that he wanted to put out there. And also, big kudos to him for taking such a big swing. This is not a run-of-the-mill, just easy cash grab project. This is a slow burn, experimental passion project that Markiplier really put his time and effort into making. And I appreciate that. On a fundamental level, I appreciate that he didn't just take an easy swing. No, he wanted to do something that he truly wanted to do. This is his and his crew's baby, their passion project. I'll probably say that a lot, I'm sorry. So it is self-financed by Markiplier, co-written, directed, starring, and you can feel the labor of love that Markiplier has for this movie and for this project. Now, the synopsis of this movie, basically, without giving anything away, is the stars and planets have gone. The stars and planets have disappeared. So humanity lives basically off of space stations. And humanity is trying to figure out why this happened. So they send criminals on the distant planets to find more information. Markiplier plays a convict who is sent down to a moon with an ocean of blood. And he is tasked to finding out information, and he is put on this submarine called the Iron Lung, and he is tasked with finding information that can help humanity either survive or prosper. That's the bare bones plot of the movie. Now, a big thing that I do want to say is that it is a very ambitious film for a first-time filmmaker. It is a one-set movie, and Markiplier is on screen about 95% of the time. So, first-time filmmaker, first-time film actor, I suppose, is a way to say it. And there's a lot of pressure on the direction and the acting to keep the audience engaged when you have a format like this. And for the most part, I do think Markiplier succeeds in this. I say for the most part because there are a couple of scenes that do drag on. I think overall this movie could have been like 45 to an hour shorter. 45 minutes to an hour shorter. It is a very long movie, and it is a drastic, slow burn, where I think a lot of people are going to be turned off by that. I think the casual audience is going to be kind of bored and upset with what they're watching. I think the Markiplier fans and the fans of Iron Lung, especially the video game, are going to love this movie. I do think, especially the Iron Lung video game crowd, because this expands on a game that they already love. I think that is a positive, but Markiplier is on screen for 95% of this movie. So all the pressure is on him. This movie either hits or breaks based off Markiplier's performance. And for the most part, I think he does a good job. There are moments where he kind of slurs his words and he doesn't really open his mouth. So it's hard to understand him and it doesn't come off too authentic to the character. But for the most part, it's really good. There are some moments where I was like, damn, okay, this is pretty good stuff. But being fair, it's not the entire time. And the mixing, the audio mixing of this movie, I don't think is the best, especially in the beginning and the ending of the movie. The beginning of the movie, well, actually, in both those sections, it's very layered on each other. and you can't really make out what's going on. What dialogue is being said, you can't really hear it. And to an extent, I think like the ending of the movie, it's by design because of the chaos that's going on and the location of the movie being on the submarine. There's a lot happening. So even like from Markiplier's character's perspective, he's not going to be able to hear everything that's going on. So we as the audience isn't going to be able to hear what's going on. So I think to an extent that was by design. However, when you have Markiplier clear as day responding to something that someone has said and you don't hear it, that to me that's an issue, right? I'm missing some key dialogue that the character is responding to. I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what's going on. So the mixing, I think, is not the best. The sound design as a whole of the submarine and the environment that he's in is fantastic. Like seeing it in the theater and hearing all the creaks and the rumbles was really cool. The score also, I thought was fire. I thought the tension was really heightened by the score. It was very, very good. So that is a big positive to me, was the score. There's also a lot of creative shots in this movie where different camera angles kind of give you the full specter of the submarine. And that is a really good tactic to keep your audience engaged when you're in a one set location. So I think that was also really clever. Also, the lighting I thought was really good. The way that Markiplier uses the lighting and the shadows and all of that was very, very fun and engaging and true. Like it kind of reminded me of Robert Eggers, where Robert Eggers only uses natural lighting. Like he won't use any of the studio lighting. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was on the ship with Markiplier's character, with all the lighting and the sounds. So I think he succeeded in the immersion aspect. But the main thing that I think people are going to come out of this movie talking about is the pacing. It is a very deliberately slow movie. It is a 2 hour and 7 minute film where you are on this one location with this one character on screen. I think a lot of people are going to find that inherently boring. Myself, I thought it was fine. I thought there was enough in here, like the sound, the shots, and Mark's interaction with everything around him, I thought was engaging, that I wasn't bored. But I know that some people are going to be bored, so just keep in mind that this is not a fast-paced, action-filled movie. Another thing that I really enjoyed personally was the Eldritch Horror. I thought the Eldritch Horror was really cool. Like the creature that is in this movie, I thought looked awesome. And just in general, this movie was practical. The set was real. Mark was there. He wasn't in a studio or nothing. They built the interior of the submarine for Markiplier to be in. And it was all practical. So I thought it looked incredible. The big thing now is that this movie has the world record of the most fake blood used, with 80,000 gallons of fake blood. And you absolutely see it. I mean, it is everywhere. I mean, when it comes into the movie, it's everywhere. It's really cool. And there's some gore in here, which I was kind of pleasantly surprised with, and the gore looked great. There's a couple CGI shots towards the very end of the movie that I don't think looked really good. However, it is a self-financed movie. It's not a high budget. It is an indie film. This is an indie movie with not a very high budget. And for the most part, you can't tell. For the most part, it looks like a high budget film. And I really am proud of that for Markiplier in general. But the main thing that I didn't really get out of this movie was the world building. I was really excited for the world building in this movie because the Iron Lung video game that this movie is based off of has a very interesting world. That opening premise that I said in the synopsis that I said is very intriguing. Like, what happened, you know? So I thought that with the film adaptation, they could expand onto that. And there is some expansion. There's some things that Markiplier puts into this movie that's not in the game. It kind of tries to wrap it all together. I just don't think it does it the most clean way it could have done it. I think it is very, very cluttered and messy in its storytelling when it comes to the lore and the world building. Like, there's some flashback moments that we just don't get any explanation for what happens. There's some nuggets that are planted into this movie, but they're never really expanded upon to a point where I'm satisfied. So that was my biggest takeaway, was I don't think the world building was very solid, and it could have been, and it probably should have been. But all in all, at the end of the day, I don't think it was a bad movie. I think for Markiplier's first attempt at a feature-length film, I think this is a very good movie. Like, I truly do think that he made what he wanted to make. So it wasn't for us, it was for him. He wanted to make what he wanted to make, and I think he absolutely did that. So I would still give this movie a thumbs up. If you're a fan of Markiplier or the game Iron Lung, go see this movie. If you're not, kind of take what I said and think about it, and then if you really like eldritch horror and slow burns, this is going to be your movie. If you're a very fast-paced, action-y enjoyer, this is not your movie. But I still, as a Markiplier fan, still urge you to go watch it to give Markiplier more support. So that's going to be it from me. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let's talk about it. Join my Discord. And with all of that said, y'all have a good day.